I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually stop and think about it before we go any further. What do you say to yourself when something goes wrong? Not to other people, but to yourself, in your own head, in the first few seconds after you feel like you've made a mistake. And what do you say to yourself on a hard morning? When the week's not going well, the list is long, and you haven't quite got on top of everything yet. Most of us, if we're honest, have a pretty specific internal vocabulary for those moments. Why did I do that? I'm so behind. I'm such an idiot. I always do this. It's not neutral, and it's not particularly kind. And most of us have been saying some version of it for so long that we don't even hear it anymore. It just sounds like thinking. What I want to show you in this video is that the vocabulary running in your head isn't describing how you feel. It's producing how you feel. And it's costing you a great deal more than most people realize. By the end of this, you will know exactly what to listen for. And once you start hearing it, you genuinely can't stop. Let me give you something concrete. I want you to think about the last time you said, I am so behind. Maybe out loud, more likely just in your head as you looked at your inbox or the list of things still undone. Now notice what your body did in the half second after. There was almost certainly a tightening somewhere, a small shift into pressure. Your shoulders, your breath, maybe your jaw. Behind isn't a fact about the list. It's a verdict that you handed down on yourself when you looked at it. And the second you handed it to yourself, your body started responding to the verdict, not the list. The rush, the low-grade urgency, the slightly snappy reply to the person who walked into your office, into your room, none of which was about the list. All of it was about what you said to yourself when you looked at it. That is the bit that most people never catch. The vocabulary isn't reporting on how you feel. It's manufacturing it. And then you can spend hours, sometimes days, inside the state it built. What's happening is something I spend a lot of time on with the people I work with. Your subconscious takes language literally, not the way your conscious mind does. Your conscious mind can hear a word, understand context, nuance, metaphor, but the subconscious, it hears a word and it follows the instruction. I'm exhausted isn't a description, it is a command. I'm not good at this isn't an observation. It's a sentence your system organizes itself around. I should have done better isn't a reflection. It's a verdict handed down every single time you say it. This is why the internal voice that most of us have running is so costly. Not because negative thinking is bad in some vague philosophical sense, but because your body is implementing every single word of it in real time, all day, every day. And the words that do the most damage are not the dramatic ones. They're the unremarkable ones, the ones which are so embedded in your everyday vocabulary that you've stopped hearing them as words at all. Should, have to, need to, must. Those 4 words, used the way most of us use them, quietly run a life. Not because they're terrible in themselves, but because they frame the things you're doing, your obligations, your day, as something happening to you rather than something you are choosing. And the body, over time, stops distinguishing between an actual emergency and an ordinary Wednesday. When people realize this, the first instinct is to try positive thinking. Replace I'm exhausted with I'm super energized. Put better sentences in. Now people, this does not work, and there is a precise reason why. Your body knows when your language is dishonest. Telling yourself, I love this, when you don't doesn't produce the state you'd have if you actually loved it. It produces a different kind of pressure. The sense of trying to feel something that you don't even feel. Your nervous system is not fooled. You can feel the difference between a sentence that's true and a sentence that you are trying to sell yourself. What does work is honest language, stripped of the words that turn choice into obligation. Not, I love this. Not, I get to. Something more like, I am choosing to do this. Your body believes that one. It gets the truth of it. And it responds completely, differently to a body that's both honest and in choice. It's also why journaling in affirmations often feels so hollow. You might have experienced it, not because you're doing it wrong, but because the body knows the difference between something that is true and something that is not. Work with what's true, state it precisely, and something shifts. The internal vocabulary you use to manage yourself is the language your body is running on every hour you're awake for as many years as you've been using it. If that vocabulary is harsh, if it's pressured, if it's full of obligation and quiet judgment, your body is operating in a state of ongoing low-level threat, regardless of what your life actually looks like on the outside. This is why it can seem like everything's going well, and you can still feel as though something's not right, something's pressing on you. The pressure is inside the sentences that you've been using to drive yourself through your own days. Often it's not coming from outside. There's nothing external that is going to shift it. Like, you can change your circumstances, your job, your home, and that same voice will start using those very same words to apply the pressure and the stress that your body and your nervous system respond to. It's why so many people are tired in a way that doesn't get better with rest. The fatigue isn't coming from the work, although external circumstances do add to it, but it's also coming from a body that's been running on threat language for 30 years, 40 years, in a life that for most of them hasn't actually been under that level of threat for that long. When this starts to shift, the first thing people notice is that the week feels different. Even though nothing on the outside has really changed, same amount of things to do, same people, same diary, the inner experience of it is different. How you speak to yourself shifts everything. Less tension, less need to decompress at the end of the day. The language of choice doesn't respond to external urgency the way the language of have to does. Someone else's emergency lands differently when you're not already operating from emergency yourself. This isn't distance or disconnection, it's steadiness, it's regulation, and it's the side effect of a body that stopped running on threat as its default setting. And decision-making changes. The same person with the same information arrives at different answers depending on the state their body was in while they were thinking things through. Decisions made from a body running on I have to tend to be small, self-protective. Decisions made from a body running on I am choosing to tend to look different altogether. If you want a place to start, try this for one day. Notice every should and have to you say to yourself out loud or in your head. No need to try and change them, just count them. Most people are genuinely shocked by the number. Awareness alone can start to shift something. And then, where you can try a sentence which feels like a truth for you. I'm choosing to, I get to. Anything that feels like your system can accept it. And if you can't say it honestly, that's information too. It means something else is going on entirely. There's a quiz on my website called the Invisible Ceiling Quiz that maps the 4 patterns I see come up most often in the people I work with. Language runs through every single one of them. The link is in the description at helenaday.com. The words that you use to manage yourself are the ones your body is running on. It's worth knowing what you're actually saying.